All right, everybody, happy Thursday. The Thursday before the long Labor Day weekend. Life is good. And college football tonight, ASU. Life is good. I'm excited.
Are you
Um,
going?
I'm not going, but here's the thing.
I
I have no confidence or faith in ASU. I am considering betting like $10 on ASU losing and making money because I would not be surprised if ASU lost to NAU tonight.
no, the quality or the talent on the teams is just so greatly different that I really think ASU will take it to them. I was supposed to go to the game tonight, but I've got to help out on stuff. So I hope you're wrong.
I hope I'm wrong too, but I was like,
I know
maybe
you
I'll
do.
be wrong and I can make some easy money, but who knows? I'm just excited that college football is back. Life is good, most wonderful time of the year. So, and
Exactly.
for you, there's soccer and football, so life is
Dude,
good.
this is the most wonderful time of the year, man, because there's soccer during the week. There were games Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then there's football today, and then back again on the weekend, and football on the weekend.
Love it.
This is the best time of year, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The only thing that's better to talk about than football and sports is insurance.
You know it.
So that's what we're going to talk about today. And Chase, thanks again for being with us. You all probably know Chase by now, but he's a personal injury attorney at Rasmussen Injury Law. They have offices, in Mesa, Tucson, and Phoenix?
Glendale.
Glendale. Okay, perfect. And so Chase is with us today, something that really, I don't know if bothers is the right word, but something that you want to really help people understand. And I'm the same way is, and I'll use this phrase a lot, the purpose of insurance is to insure, or you have insurance to use it. But a lot of times people are so worried about price, and even companies really, we always want to blame the consumers because all they care about is price when it comes to insurance, but it's these insurance companies' fault because you turn on the TV and every other commercial is going to be State Farm, Farmers, Progressive, whatever, and all they talk about is come to us and we'll save you money. And so then that gets passed down to the consumers. They have the mindset of, I can't use my insurance because if I do, the price is going to go up and I have to keep my insurance low. And so we just kind of want to talk about that today. We'll give you guys some tips, tricks, let you know how all these different incidents on your insurance will affect you or will not affect you. And hopefully it's some good information that all of you can use moving forward. So Chase, tell me kind of, what frustrates you, what you see when people come in, they've been in an accident and you're trying to get them to use their coverage and they're hesitant. Talk to us about that.
So I have this talk, I'm not exaggerating, almost on a daily basis.
Wow.
And so I like this topic because I want people to understand that when we're paying premiums for coverage, it's to use it when something happens. And so don't be afraid to use it when something happens. A lot of times I will get a new client come in that's been involved in an accident and they say, well, I want the other guy's insurance to pay for my car. Yeah, I'm paying for collision coverage, but I want the other guy's insurance to pay for it so it doesn't affect me. That's wrong in so many different ways. And we want to help get that fear out of people because you are paying to have that coverage. And ultimately, your insurance company is going to get reimbursed. So if your car gets fixed, what they will do is called a subrogation claim, or basically they will go to the at-fault insurance and say, hey, it cost $5,000 to fix our client's car. It was your client's fault. So pay me back the $5,000. And by going through that, one, you're dealing with an insurance company that you're paying premiums to, so they owe you a higher duty of care. They're going to take better care of you, and they have to take better care of you. But then two, you've got an insurance company who wants to keep you as a client and are going to try and treat you well. And again, because they have to treat you well, the repairs will be done better. The repairs, or just the whole process in general, will be done better. And you'll get your car back that much faster. You'll get it done, and then you don't have to worry about what am I going to do for transportation in the meantime. And so this is something that I stress to my clients so often is use your insurance. If you've got it, use it.
Love it. What do you think? And then I'm going to show a diagram here and we're going to break it down. Do you agree with me? Are they concerned about price? Is that why they don't want to use their insurance, or what do you think the main factor is?
By far the number one factor is, well, I don't want it to affect my insurance rates. Every time, I don't want it to affect my insurance rates. And so that's when I talk about there are specific laws in Arizona that preclude your insurance from raising your rates if you are not at fault for the accident or substantially at fault for the accident. And so that's the biggest thing. The second is I'll get clients who say, well, it was his fault, so I want his insurance company to pay for it. Again, they will. When you go through your insurance, they're not going to want to pay for something that's not your fault. So they will seek reimbursement. They will subrogate to the at-fault insurance, and they will get the money back. And so ultimately, it will be the other insurance company who pays for it. So just go through your own.
Got it. Okay. So let's go down this list here, and Chase, you can jump in as needed, but where I really want you to jump in is down here when we talk about not at fault and uninsured, underinsured. So just so everybody knows, if you have an at-fault accident, yes, your rates are going to go up. You're at fault, you're costing your insurance company money, your rates are going to go up. If you have MVD violations, speeding ticket, you get pulled over because you ran a red light, you or whatever, if you get any type of motor vehicle violations, your rates are going to go up. You're signaling to the insurance companies that you're a riskier driver because you're out there violating traffic laws. Comprehensive, that's like theft, vandalism, fire, glass, hitting an animal, things to that nature. Your premiums can go up. They don't always with every carrier, they can go up, but it's not going to go up nearly as much as other at-fault claims, but it does have the potential to go up. So for these three things, yes, these are your fault. Your insurance rates are going to go up. But here's what we want to talk about. So we try to give insurance information countrywide, but in this case, we're going to get state specific, and you want to check your state laws. Not at fault accidents. In some states, they can still raise your rates. Arizona, and Chase, you can talk about this in a minute. Arizona, California, and Colorado have laws, and there's probably other states, but in my research, I only found those three. They have laws where they cannot raise your rates for having a not at fault accident. This UM/UIM, that stands for uninsured, underinsured. That is the same thing. If you file a claim under that, that means you are not at fault. In some states, they cannot raise your rates. Same thing for MedPay or PIP is what is in other states. If you are not at fault, they cannot raise your rates. So let me stop sharing here, Chase. And if you want to talk about the Arizona statute, that would be great.
Yep. So I'm only licensed to practice in Arizona. So I know all of our nationwide and global wide audience that watches this will want to know what applies to them. But I just want to say that with my license in Arizona only, I focus on that. And there is a statute, ARS 20-263, which is regarding vehicle insurance, which specifically is the authority as to why insurance companies cannot raise your rates if you're involved in an accident and it's not your fault. So here on the screen, again, it's no insurer, the company, shall increase the motor vehicle insurance premium of an insured as a result of an accident not caused or significantly contributed to by the actions of the insured. Any insurer which increases the premiums as a result of the accident involvement shall notify the insured of the reason for such increase. So the main thing I want to focus on there is if you do get your rates raised, ask them why. Because if it was raised because you made a claim for an accident that you're not at fault, and notice the language in here that it says substantially at fault. Because in Arizona, you can be partially at fault for an accident. There may be things that happen to where the other car is 80% at fault and you're 20%. Again, that's not substantially. Generally, what I've seen is that it's more than 50% is considered substantially. And so if you're not substantially at fault, they can't raise your rates. If you get a rate increase, you need to ask why. And if it does refer to anything about an accident to which you weren't substantially responsible for, you report that stuff to the Board of Insurance of Arizona. And those kind of things are what insurance companies want to avoid. Getting complaints with the Board of Insurance, you get enough of them, that can penalize them or may even cause them to withdraw from the state of issuing that insurance. You know, the big companies like State Farm and Progressive, you know, it's going to take a whole lot of that to make them withdraw or not be able to issue insurance here. But regardless, they don't want that on their record that those kind of things are happening. And so that's what you can do if you're concerned of, well, they say they're not going to raise the rates, but they may. No, ask them. If you're involved in an accident, you use the coverage, ask them why, and they should show it to you.
Love it. And let's say somebody's watching and they're like, hey, I think this happened to me, but I just don't know who to contact. Is that something you can help people with, Chase? Or
Oh yeah, I'd be happy.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody who contacts us and has stuff like that, I know I can basically direct you to the right person to call to ask that information, and then kind of give you some of the keywords that there are to use to make sure that the insurance company doesn't take advantage of you.
Love it.
And so one other thing that I want to mention in regards to your insurance rates potentially going up, or they won't go up again for uninsured, underinsured, or med pay. And again, collision, if you're not at fault for the accident or substantially at fault, your rates aren't going to go up. But what it ends up helping you as well is your insurance company, because they don't want to pay this money, they are going to seek subrogation or payment from the other insurance company. And so they will be pushing to show that the other car is at fault. And so when you get in an accident, you yourself will be pointing the finger at the other car. If you have a lawyer, your lawyer will be doing it. But then if you've got your insurance company who's repaired your vehicle and going after the other insurance saying, hey, our client's not at fault, pay us back. There you've got three people going to bat for you to say that I'm not at fault for this accident. And so it helps you in the claims process as well.
Love it. Okay. I'm going to share my screen here in a second, and we're going to talk a little bit more, give you some tips and tricks. But essentially, so I want people to understand, we don't want to use insurance for like, oh, my little kid barely brushed on my vehicle and there's $200 worth of damage. For that, we don't want to file unnecessary claims, right? But for actual claims, when it's bad enough to where you have to go talk to an attorney like Chase, when you have medical injuries, that's what insurance is for. Don't be afraid of your premiums going up, because you pay for insurance to use it. You don't pay for it to like enter this contest where you just want to keep your premiums as low as possible for as long as possible. I know that's what all these commercials lead us to believe, but that's not the case. Let me share here. I think this is some useful information, and it kind of talks a little bit about subrogation as well, Chase. But here are my suggestions as an insurance broker. So the first one here is find a carrier with some type of accident forgiveness program, especially if you have young children on the policy. So if you have young children, guess what? They're probably going to be in an accident, and it's probably going to be their fault, not the other person. So you're going to be worried about your rates going up. A lot of carriers offer accident forgiveness. It costs a little bit more, but having a young driver or even an older person with an accident that's their fault on their insurance, it's going to jack your rates up. So accident forgiveness can help that. Here's another tip. When something happens where your rates are going up because of accidents or violations or whatever, you're probably going to be stuck with your current carrier because they don't weigh those accidents as much as if you go to a brand new carrier, because you're already with that company. And a lot of people think, oh, I'll have an accident with this company, then I'll jump over to the next company and that incident won't appear. No, there's a database that all insurance companies dump into, and they follow you around. So once it's on there, it's on there. One more thing here is speeding tickets. Don't just pay it. A lot of times you get a speeding ticket and you're like, oh, I'll just pay it, it'll go away. If you do that, that's you admitting fault, and that will show up on your motor vehicle record, and it will affect your rates. However, on that ticket that you get in the mail, there will be the option to do driving school. It costs very much, I think it's almost identical to how much you would pay if you just paid the ticket. And then it's not going to show up on your record and affect your rates.
In some circumstances, it's actually cheaper to do the driver's school.
Okay.
But even if it's not cheaper, again, keeping it off your record is the big thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then here's what you were referencing, Chase, subrogation. So that's if you're in an accident, it's not your fault. You don't run it through the at-fault party's insurance. You run it through your own insurance. As Chase explained, your insurance company, they have a higher duty of care to you. They're going to take care of you better than the other insurance company would. You may end up paying your deductible up front. And a lot of people, that's what they tell me. I don't want to go through my insurance company because I don't want to pay the deductible. You pay it up front once your insurance company is successful in subrogating and getting the money back from the other insurance company, they will refund you your deductible. So you will get it back.
And in that situation too, if you've got an attorney involved, a lot of times what I'll do is reach out to the at-fault insurance, especially in a situation where it's like a rear end accident and it's clear that the other car is at fault. Before you even get to the point of needing to pay the deductible, you'll usually get something that will allow your insurance to waive the deductible, or they'll issue a check right away to pay the deductible up front, just so you're not dealing with that. And so another reason why they get an attorney involved, so that they can push on that. And for our offices, we help with property damage. There are attorneys out there who just throw it to you and say, no, you've got to handle it. We'll guide you through that process without a charge. Our charge has to do with the injury claim. But going through your insurance is helpful. And there are going to be circumstances where we can't get the deductible paid up front or taken care of. But in the end, you've got your insurance company fighting for you. And when they make the subrogation claim and prevail on that, you will get your deductible back. It'll just be for a period of time that you've had to pay it. Or in a situation with a total loss, you will just receive that much less money. If your deductible is $500 and your total loss is $10,000, then you'll get $9,500, but then get your $500 back after the subrogation claim is closed.
Got it. Got it. And to that same point, it's like, yeah, it's a $500 deductible. Maybe it's $1,000 deductible, but it is well worth it considering the runaround that the other insurance company is going to give you, the time it's going to take to get that taken care of. For instance, let me go off on a little tangent. There are some times where clients will go through the other insurance company. The other insurance company won't even talk with them or give them a rental car until they've established who was at fault. And sometimes it takes them a week or 2 weeks to contact their client and then say, oh yeah, our client was at fault. It's 2 weeks later, you haven't had a car, but now we're going to give you a rental car. It's not worth it.
So that opens up a whole nother can of worms, Michael. So what ends up happening too is if you've been in an accident and it's, really bad to where your car isn't drivable, a lot of times your vehicle will get towed to a tow yard. And every day it's sitting in the tow yard, it's accruing fees. And so if you contact your insurance, they'll get it out immediately to avoid accruing the fees. But if you say, well, I'm going to reach out to the other person's insurance, just like Michael said, they're going to say, well, we haven't accepted liability yet. We are allowed to investigate the loss and we need to contact our insured. Well, they may never get a hold of that person, or they may just not work on it. And so 2, 3, 4 weeks can go by and nothing has happened. But if your vehicle is sitting there in the tow yard, it's accruing those daily rental charges or those daily charges of being in the yard. Mm-hmm. And so you want to get it withdrawn as quickly as possible, even if that means you paying some of it. If you've got the right coverage under your insurance, you'll get reimbursed. Or if you set it up through your insurance, they'll go get it and take it out for you. But one big concept within injury and property damage claims is mitigating your damages. You've got to do all that you can that's within your power to avoid those type of costs accruing. And so if you've got your insurance, get it out of that yard immediately so those charges don't continue to grow. And then your insurance company will start that process that much quicker. The insurance company for the at-fault driver, they will do everything they can to delay until they are basically forced to accept fault and to deal with it. And yeah, you say 2 to 3 weeks, man. I've had it be as bad as 2 to 3 months.
Wow.
It's bad because if they can't get a hold of the person, or if the police report is taking a long time to get generated, then you're sitting there at the whim of the other insurance company. Yep. And there are a lot out there that aren't on TV, that don't do a bunch of advertisings, that just are not the greatest of companies. And I'm kind of cynical with most of them, but they will do everything they can to avoid paying. And so if you go through your insurance, then that just takes away a whole slew of things that they can do to hammer you down and to make you not want to make a claim.
Got it. Yep. Long story short, you pay premium to your insurance company for a reason. Use them. Use it. If you have insurance, use it. There you go. These last 2 points. So your rates won't go up until your policy renews. So if you do have an accident that you're able to be surcharged for, it's not like the next day your insurance company is going to call you and be like, hey, you were in an accident yesterday, your rates are going up. They will not go up until your policy renews. And then the last thing, these incidents that they are able to charge you for, depending on the company, will stay on your record for 3 to 5 years and affect your premiums. Now, as the incident gets further in the past, they're not going to surcharge you as much, but they will stay on your record and affect your rate for that long. Most companies have moved to 5 years to hold it against you. There are only a handful that use the 3-year period. So all of those things hopefully are of good value to you. But that's really it. The whole point, I'll say it again, the purpose of insurance is to insure. Get the coverage that you need, get sufficient coverage, and then when the time comes where you need to use it, don't be afraid to use it. That's why it's there. That's why you pay it. Don't listen to these insurance companies that talk about price, price, price. That's just a race to the bottom. You don't want to have that mindset. You want to talk about coverage, 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 and then that coverage is there when you need it.
Exactly. It's what we pay for. We don't want any of these things to happen, but because they happen, that's why we carry insurance, to protect us, to protect others. So don't be afraid to use it when you need it. If it's there and something has happened, just use it. Use it. And if you've got any questions about this still after this explanation, you could talk with people like me and Michael, and we'll tell you and reference the different laws and different statutes and things that apply as to how they can't use it against you if you're not at fault or things like that.
Absolutely. And I'll post those, the pictures, whatever you want to call them, I'll post them down below. And then, Chase, to all of you, he said, if you feel like you've been wronged or if you feel like a company is charging you when they shouldn't, reach out to Chase. He's more than happy to help you to make sure you're not getting taken advantage of. So
happy to do it.
Well, that's it. So now that we've talked about the most interesting subject in the world, now we can go watch some college football, the second most interesting subject in the world.
That's one thing about college football in Arizona. It's still so stinking hot that going to the games, man, it's rough.
I won't go to an ASU game until like late October, probably like mid-November. It's not worth it.
Around Halloween time.
Yeah.
For those of you that aren't from here, it doesn't cool off until Halloween. So
yeah, I'm looking at the weather right now at the bottom of my computer. It says it's 105. And when the game starts tonight at 7, it's probably going to be like 100 degrees still.
Yep. So come on, Devils, and you all hardcore fans that are going to be there. Good on you.
There you go. Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for being with us. And Chase, thanks again for joining us. And we will see you next Thursday at 4 o'clock when we go live again.